Nicole asked him if he had ever strayed away before, and he told her no. He told Nicole that it felt like she had a lead on him, and she was able to tug him away from Shanann. This made Nicole happy to hear. This newfound freedom and acceptance was intoxicating for Chris, pulling him further away from his family and deeper into his affair with Nicole. In a revealing police interview, Chris disclosed key details about his affair with Nicole. Essay Coder asked Chris if he had any affairs with other people, to which he replied that he only had an affair with Nicole. He mentioned meeting her around June 1st, 2018, at work when he took a gas meter to her for fixing. After that, they ran into each other a few times in the office and chatted about work. Around the fourth time meeting, Chris mentioned we moved from North Carolina, prompting Nicole to ask what he meant by we. That's when Chris showed her a picture of his daughters, and Nicole saw a picture of Shanann on his lock screen. Nicole knew he was married and had children, despite later claiming she didn't know he was married.
Hey guys, welcome to Timeless Mysteries. You should be able to hear me. Everything looks like it's working. Geez, that was crazy. I don't like restarting a stream because it's like when you use the same thumbnail, the same title again, YouTube doesn't like to share it with people all of a sudden. And it's like, I don't know what happened. I couldn't launch through OBS for some reason. So I tried to go through, actually use YouTube, and it just like I didn't even know that I didn't have audio. It was crazy. And there's no option to change the microphone. So I'm just using StreamYard, which I'm trying not to use anymore because it's so expensive and it glitches too. So, but yeah, I've been watching a couple I've been spending time watching some of these older videos on Nichol Kessinger lately, and they're just interesting. Hey, Charlotte. Hey, Molly. Hey, Olga. Hey, Lucky. How's everyone today? It is a brutally cold day here in Anchorage. I think it was like -19 the last time I checked, but that was a few hours ago. It has been an insanely cold winter, and it's only been winter for what, like a week and a half? I think right around Thanksgiving, it started getting down below zero. We haven't gotten that much snow yet either. It's kind of weird. If you look at the mountains, it looks like the wind is like blowed the snow off of it. It's crazy. But so I was just wanted to talk about Nichol Kessinger. 59. Is that below zero or above? Because whenever I walk by my thermometer thing in the kitchen area, the one that's attached outside to an outside thermometer, I look at it and it says 19, 12, and I'm like, oh, it's 12 degrees. And then if I look closer, I could see that it's actually below zero. It's crazy. Anyways, guys, I want to talk about Nichol Kessinger today. And I would like to know, before we get started, like to the stuff that I've like got kind of planned. It's loosely planned here, but I was just curious what you guys think about Nichol Kessinger. Oh, hang on, guys. I'm getting a phone call from my kids. Just a sec. It's like one of those days, guys. I got to answer this, so just give me a sec.
We're not going to be able to call you at 7 because...
Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
This is my son, guys. Go ahead, Max.
Oh, my dad made a book for me.
Oh, what?
In the Nice Moon.
You found it, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys could hear him very well, but he's excited about this book that I wrote for him. It's kind of cool. Everybody says hi, Max. So why can't you guys call me later?
Because we're going to a movie theater.
What are you gonna see?
Zootopia 2.
Zootopia 2? They have a 2?
Yeah.
That's cool.
They're filming it.
They just got done with it. It's just now in the theaters, or has it been out for a while?
It's been out for a little bit.
I've seen Zootopia 1. What about you guys? Have you seen Zootopia? There's a Zootopia 2. But Max, that's okay if you can't call me at the regular time. You can call me after the movie. Let me know how it is if you want. You just want to be. I wish I could show you guys what he's doing. He's making kind of goofy faces. Everybody say hi to Max. He wants to be a YouTuber also. Everybody's saying hi, Max. So where's your brother?
He's showering.
Okay. Well, I'm about to start talking about some stuff that I don't think is kid appropriate here. So, can you call me after the movie is over?
I don't. How about? But it's gonna be like at 9.
That's fine. Tori says hello from Australia, Max.
What's that?
Just one of the people watching the chat. Say hi to Tori. She says she loves that. What?
You video.
She says she likes the Ice Age movies. You've seen pretty much all of those, right, Max?
Yeah, Daddy. Yeah. He's filming.
Yeah, you don't want to show up in a towel there, buddy. My other son just got out of the shower. If you get dressed, Ben, you can say hi to everyone too.
Okay. What are you drinking?
It's a Mountain Dew.
Oh, your favorite?
Yeah. So it's funny, Max. I was trying to go live earlier, and I would be in the middle of it right now, except for I couldn't get anything to start working. The video started, but the audio didn't. You know, I need somebody who's young and tech savvy like you to come, do my my IT stuff to get my microphone. Yeah, I need a helper who can, run the microphone and stuff for me.
My head.
So is your brother almost dressed?
Yeah, he's naked, but he has a shirt.
Everybody says you're adorable. So, Max, you want to show off your braces?
Sure.
Let's see. He's going to have better teeth than his dad when he grows up. No. But I never had braces.
I have a pencil.
What kind of a pencil? Ah, Ben, put on some pants, and then you can say hi.
No, he doesn't. He has my big Adidas underwear on. You remember this dinosaur we had before?
I don't know, but is Ben dressed now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, did you remember this one?
I remember that one for sure.
Hello.
Everybody say hi to Ben. Oops.
This is me in my pajamas.
So let's get you guys side by side so I can show them how much you guys look alike.
And this is me in my regular Pokemon shirt.
Turn the phone sideways and let me see both of you guys.
Sideways.
I think it'll work if you turn it. Oh, it doesn't work. It's okay. Yep. So, what's your guys' favorite things to do? Yep. Legos and books. Oh, Max is making his own books. Yet they will be.
Put it teared apart, just 2 pages. Oh.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Page 2. No, go to page 3. Which one do you want to go to?
Page 3.
You don't want to play a video game?
Do I?
It's a pretend.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, page 2. Black Ninja hears a noise outside.
Mhm.
Go to sleep. Page 10.
He has written a choose your own adventure book, it sounds like.
Yeah, there. Go outside. Page 4.
Yeah, let's go outside.
Okay. Page 4. Black Ninja sees bad guy, running away. Run away. Page 6. Fight bad guy. Go to page 12.
I'm trying to get this to show up better, but it's not working. Ah, here we go. There you go. Now they can see you. But you guys can just call me when you get back from the movie. Even if it's late, it's fine. I kind of like to know how the movie goes.
Black Ninja sees bad guy. Run away. Page 6. Fight. Page 12.
Yeah,
Finish my time story.
you did.
Look. I finished it.
Oh, nice. I've been working on some, those scary stories that I sent you guys that were too scary. I've been trying to make them less scary.
Did you my story? I finished. It's like Max's.
Okay, let's hear it.
Once upon a dangerous time, Major Boy was doing his chores in China. His chores in when he heard a noise outside his house. He said it was just a raccoon looking for trash, but it was not. It was a bear from the last book. Ninja Boy went out to apologize, but the bear was gone when Ninja Boy at. I made another story at school but I turned it into the teacher, and I don't know where. Where should I go? Page 9, look in the bush. Page 6, look in the rocks. You could lose the game. Yeah, you could lose the game.
I don't know. You pick.
Okay, I'll go with the rocks.
Hey, Maribel, we're having a little side discussion today. My kids happened to call me because they can't call me later. So we're just hanging out at the moment. But I do appreciate you guys being here. So okay. Hey, Ben, just think about what characteristics Ninja Boy has, so you can make him more realistic. What is he like? What does he hate? Those kinds of questions. How good is he at sneaking around? It'll help your story a lot. Okay. Bye-bye, you guys. Call me after the movie. Let me know how it goes. Love you. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Oh my goodness. So, I don't know what other technical problems is going to happen today, but I don't know. This has been a weird day. Let me see if I can fix all of this again, get everything working. Yeah, that was fun. I have to call them typically at 7:00 Arizona time, and then if I miss it, then I don't always get to talk to them. That's 5:00 here in Anchorage. But it's kind of cool to see them enjoying writing because I write all the time. I spend a lot of time writing true crime, as you guys know, based off of my content, but I've been taking like a little break from just focusing on true crime, and I've been writing horror and mystery based off of a lot of the stuff that I've learned writing true crime. And I found out I'm kind of good at it. So I know Max showed you the book that I sent him for Christmas. That book, oh my goodness. It's fantasy, so it's way harder to write. And I was trying so hard to get it done before Christmas so that it could be printed and sent to him, and I barely made it. And then, of course, like 3 days later, I decided to read the first chapter that I thought was good before my revisions that I did at the end. And then I realized that, oh, I did change some things at chapter 6. So I have to actually fix that and go back and rewrite the beginning a little bit. But anyway, so Nichol Kessinger. Let's talk about Nichol Kessinger today, guys. I'd like to know what you guys think about her. What what have you guys been hearing on YouTube and other types of streaming media, or just media in general? Like, what is Nichol Kessinger up to, and why isn't she been investigated properly? Those are the main questions I always seem to have. Olga got a kitten today. Now, kittens are fun until they start peeing on everything. What'd you name your kitten? Oops. Mm. Oh, Tori, I'm sorry to hear about your dog. You know, I'm about to share one of these videos that, you know, I don't typically react to other people's videos. But this one, you know, I know it's a couple years old, but I hadn't seen it before. And, you know, I think after watching it, I started wondering if Nichol Kessinger really was at the Watts' house. And they bring up some really interesting points. And if you guys want to watch the entire video, I'll make sure and put that link in my my description so you guys can find it. But you know, it's like a panel of people, and they're talking about the phone peeing. They're talking about the way Chris Watts seems kind of strange when he's looking around his own house, you know, and they basically imply that she was there and she snuck out when Nicole Atkinson got there and was looking around trying to get in and stuff. I know people, many of you have brought this up to me before, and I typically, you know, just brush it off that it's, you know, unlikely. But I don't know. After hearing their arguments for how she could have possibly been there, I'm like, you know, not so sure anymore. She does have, you know, stakes in this relationship. She would have motive for, you know, removing the obstacles that prevent her from being with Chris, you know, all of the time. Um, Molly, you have 6 cats. That is a lot of cats. Are they all indoor cats or you know, my grandmother used to feed all of the neighborhood cats. I'm talking like she would put out like a cookie sheet thing with a bag full of cat food, and then like 30 cats would show up and eat until it was all gone, and then they would leave. So, what do you guys think? Was Nichol Kessinger present when or right before the police arrived? What do you think? So, I'm gonna go ahead and play some of this. I don't have it in a specific spot. I think I'm close to the interesting part of this story, but I'm not sure exactly. But you know, I'm gonna let it play for a little while, and then we can talk about it.
I don't remember what was in the phone conversation. Probably nothing of
Let me
relevance, to
back
be
up just a
honest with
little bit.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm too far back.
Was NK fingerprinted? Do we know if she was or not? I don't find anywhere that says that she was.
No,
No, we have
and
not.
it doesn't seem so because she was not treated as a person of interest.
Right.
Mm.
So that's
So
just, I mean, huge missed opportunity.
Yes. So then we would look, and so the next question would be, was NK at the house that day? And we'll need to go through some of the clues or circumstantial evidence. And we start with a 111-minute call.
Mm-hmm.
And the ping started in Thornton. And now the ping would only show when where the call starts. And I think when Chris talked about an emotional conversation, this is my own opinion because Chris is always about the truth within the lie. I don't think he ever had that emotional conversation with Shanann. I think it was an emotional conversation with NK. And so Tia and Leah did a video on Seeking the Truth with Dave about the Wi-Fi disconnected in the last 30 minutes of that call, with Chris basically leaving the house during that call. And we don't know what Chris is doing. So the question is, did Chris meet somebody and bring them into the house? Because at the end of the call, around 11:20, the door closes, Vivian is entered into, and his phone reconnects to Wi-Fi.
See, I need to get this alert. There's like an accounting of every time there was an alert from one of the door alarms or the window alarms, anytime anything was opened in the house. And they're suggesting that somebody came in at some point before Shanann. And it's really, really an interesting. I mean, I'm kind of persuaded now, you know. I don't want to say somebody was there because honestly, it doesn't make sense as much as it would if Chris Watts did it all by himself. But the problem that I have with that is how Nichol Kessinger deleted everything off of her phone. And not only that, she forgot what they talked about the night before. Those two things are the only like red flags that like don't set well with me. Yes, Olga, it is the Vivint, I think that's how you say it, Vivint. But you know, if it wasn't for those two things, I would say that no, Nichol Kessinger was not a party in any way, shape, or form. But she does have a reason to, you know, handle this situation either with Chris or behind his back. You know, she wanted to be with Chris, and it's obvious from the interviews that she does. You can hear it in her voice. She, you know, the pitch in her voice changes when she talks about him. She gets almost giddy again. We all know that video of her making that weird, creepy giggling thing. That's how she felt around Chris. And you could see it in the interview with the police. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep playing some of this. It gets even better.
And MK doesn't have any recollection of that call at all.
No.
In circumstances where she is the last person to talk to the murder suspect. And if you allow me, I have a transcript of what she says about that call. My impersonation of NK may not be that great, but I have it verbatim. So she's asked by Kovac, you knew that his wife was probably going to be home late that evening. And then she responds, well, you know what? I still don't remember what we talked about. Honestly, we talked about like so much random stuff, like so hard to pinpoint some of these things. I don't remember what we talked about. I remember there was a long conversation. We probably talked all sorts of stuff. One thing I do remember though, that I didn't remember, I was talking about Mark. So this is like when I'm starting to remember like bits and pieces. I don't remember what was in the phone conversation. Probably nothing of relevance, to be honest with
Probably's and I can't remember sounds like she's lying to everyone. I don't think anybody believes that.
you. Usually he talks to me when he's like down in the basement in his bed before he goes to bed, and I could hear the TV on, which I thought was kind of weird. I didn't ask him. Well, it goes another paragraph, but you get the gist.
Mhm.
This is NK having no answer for the most important phone call before the alleged murder. So was that phone call an emotional conversation?
I believe that phone call was an emotional conversation. It was most likely an argument or planning, basically. That's why she forgot it. It's really bizarre to me. Um, I try to think about long conversations that I've had with anybody, and I can typically pull out something other than probably this or probably that. It was definitely this or definitely that, right? Um, Even if I forgot the whole thing, I've had some pretty long phone calls before. And, you talk about a lot of things, but even if you can't remember any of them, you're going to remember the overall theme of the conversation or parts of the conversation, but you're not going to you're not going to forget all of it. And she conveniently forgets everything, and we don't know why. And that's why we're still talking about her.
Is that phone call Chris trying to pull out of the plan? What was that phone call about? We don't know. But was NK then going to make
I've talked about that before. Also, the possibility that they had a plan and then Chris changed his mind. I don't know if you guys remember those scenarios, those fictional scenarios that I came up with like maybe 9-10 months ago, maybe a year ago. I can't remember. I spent a lot of time working on those, trying to come up with plausible scenarios of what actually happened with that 111-minute phone call. And I think the most likely thing is that she gave him an ultimatum. I think that is the most logical, the most easy, simple answer. The next one would be that Chris decided he didn't want to go through with it, whatever they had planned. Maybe it wasn't murder. Maybe they were going to go to Mexico. We don't know for sure what they were talking about. We don't know for sure their plans. Um, it's all speculation, but we do know, at least I know, she was hiding something from that conversation. And that's why she couldn't remember anything.
sure that Chris was going to do what he's supposed to do? We don't know. But this is something that we should look into. And if the case was properly investigated, then it would be like the Lori Vallow case where you're tracking the GPS of the phone. You can see exactly where the person is down to the 8-foot square
I
meter.
wish I could make that bigger.
Yeah. And we don't have any of that here in this case.
No, we don't. But we have the 6:16 a.m. Frederick,
Yes,
and
we
that
do.
is very important. So that's another corroborating evidence because she's never pinged in Frederick except for the 2-3 days where she saw Chris. This is not her route of driving to work ever. And this is the only morning where she doesn't call Chris. She calls, leave him alone for 1 minute. And before Chris left,
Oh, that's another thing that I wanted to talk about because I hadn't considered this before, but apparently she had been calling Chris on him every morning on every day since they started hanging out. It was like part of their routine. When they woke up, they texted each other. When they're going to work, they texted each other. This day, she didn't do that. So for me, I'm wondering if this 111-minute phone call was, some kind of angry conversation and that they were mad at each other for something. And that's why she didn't text him that morning because she was angry. Or, the other thing that it could be is that she had planned to do stuff with him, or she was actually with him. If she was with him, sorry, there we go. Trying to get this working, but if she was with him, she would not need to text him that morning. And I think these are very good questions, because, if you think about human behavior, we all do the same things over and over again our whole lives. We got a routine down. We wake up every morning, we have a piece of toast, or we have a cup of coffee, or we get ready for work, or we take a shower. We do those things. We're creatures of habit, right? So why didn't she text him that morning? What do you guys think? Why didn't she text him that morning?
Talk to the officers. He said that we needed to leave at a certain time to get there in time. Well, who's we? Was Chris and Jim, were they both driving there? And we'll get to the evidence at Cervi later. But to also add to that, on Saturday, NK was Googling Ronnie Watts. I believe Shanann
this
Watts.
video doesn't have that many views. So I don't think I'd seen it before either. But it's really an interesting conversation, guys. So let me see if I can find the link, and you guys can watch it on their channel.
And also the address of Saratoga Trail.
Yes.
Okay, so these are the circumstantial evidence. And then there's the debate of whether or not you see NK in the CCTV at 5 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been gait analysis that there's two people walking out of the house, one person having the longer sleeves that cover her wrist, just like in the interview when you see NK wearing this very long sleeve covering all her wrist, with a different gait and different body shape, possibly with a ponytail. So there is that to consider as well, although that would be debatable in court. And then you have Betty, our dear Betty, who has a great memory, who saw the gray truck at 5 a.m. when she left for the gym, at 7 a.m. when she returned to the gym from the gym, and at 12:15, but not when law enforcement arrived. And there's also another neighbor who saw the gray truck, the smaller gray truck with, do you call it a white camper?
Yes.
Yes. And we have this truck registered under Dwayne Kessinger's name.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly, I think you have a photo of the gray
Yeah,
truck.
let me see if I can pull it up from my messenger. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. Yeah, but I think that's one of the biggest pieces of evidence in the case is the fact that one eyewitness says she saw it in front of the home that morning. Another eyewitness and her son saw it where the man threw the beer can out. So yes, absolutely. I feel that if this had gone to trial, don't you think that they would have tried to track down the owner of those vehicles and run the they never ran the license plate to our knowledge that the son gave.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then the final clue is a 12:42 Vivint alert. Now we have NA showing up at the house. To everybody's surprise,
that's the Vivint.
NK.
That alert is that the door opened up before Shanann came home, and I don't know if they looked at the door cam to find out who came in or who went out, but we don't see that information anywhere. I believe that the Vivint thing did report Chris coming or going out of the house, or maybe even Nichol Kessinger coming in The door definitely opened. I don't know how like often those things kind of give false positives or anything, but this was 2018.
And she's ringing the doorbell. Chris is telling her, "What are you doing here?" And he basically gets her to leave. She's trying to get in the house, and she leaves and she goes to the doctor. Now, at that time, at 12:40, she is at Shanann's doctor's office.
And they're talking about Nicole
So
Atkinson.
Shanann's phone, once the law enforcement officers were able to access Shanann's phone, they see a Vivint alert at 12:42 inside the house, which is an alert from the basement to the garage, similar to what you would see in what you saw in Netflix. Shanann was grabbing the phone from the garage on Christmas. And this basically shows that there was somebody in the house. There was
That is
somebody
weird,
still in
right,
the
guys?
house.
The
And I
fact
referred
that the door opened or closed while Chris was not home and nobody else was there. If Nicole Atkinson had went to the house and opened the front door, which she does later, and it opens the door just a crack because there's a chain on the back of it, she can't actually get in. That triggers the alarm too. But this is the inside door, the one that goes to the garage. Who opened that door? Why did that alert go off?
to this person as the cleaning lady. So when you put all of these together,
The
and that
cleaning lady.
person
That's what they call
must
Nichol
have then
Kessinger, right?
escaped through the Minnie Mouse basement window, because that's the one that Chris said.
Because, if this was a massive crime scene and everybody had died that night before, somebody's got to clean up. When the police arrived, they said it smelled like bleach and cleaning supplies. But, that stuff kind of airs out pretty quickly. If he did it in the night before, it shouldn't still be fresh, I wouldn't think.
Doesn't alert Vivint. He talks about it in the sermon porch. He talks about it during his police officer review. So when you put all of that up together, my opinion is that NK was there from 11:20 p.m.
Molly,
on
I think
Sunday
so too.
and left
After
on
watching this
Monday
video, I think
around
so too.
12:42 p.m.
Right. And we also have where we showed that the curtains were open when Officer Coonrod was looking in, because
Now
you can
this is
see the
pretty
rug,
cool.
you can see one of their orange stools by the counter. But then by the time Chris allows them through the front door, those kitchen sliding door curtains are closed.
Yes. So now we can have a revote now that we've gone through the entire circumstantial evidence. Who thinks NK was there that night?
And also,
I think she was
we
there.
went through in a live we did, and there were people who were saying, well, the officer checked every single basement window and checked if they were locked. But on the body cam, when Officer Coonrod first initially arrived, we watched, and he did not check every window. Once he got past that Mickey window with the mini blanket thing over it, and he went to the side, he stopped picking up those windows. So they could have been unlocked. Sorry, I'm still looking for that gray truck in my messages, but continue on and we'll kind of circle back and show you that, because it is interesting and important, I feel.
Okay, well, it seems like the chat's in agreement that NK was there and probably cleaning up the crime scene after Chris left, because the place was more or less spotless. And although there were still things that were missing, that's probably because she had to quickly leave as she was spooked by.
So I think they end up saying a few things that I don't think are true in this. They talk about a trash can with a sippy cup and something else. And I don't remember seeing any of that. So, I mean, I think they've got a lot of good points, and everything makes a lot of sense. I was unable to find any of the images of the house where I could tell for sure that the curtains changed. And I've looked, but the image quality isn't that great. I don't know about that one, but I do know that I don't know why Nichol Kessinger was not investigated. My other big question at this point is, we know that she didn't clock into work that morning. She had to manually enter her time to get in to report herself at work. But was there anybody at work that actually saw her there on time, or, maybe a little bit early, within an hour? Because it sounds like she might not have been there until very late. If she was there at the house when Nicole Atkinson got there, she would have been really late, and I think people would have noticed that. Unless, her job lets her sit in a closed office where nobody bothers her and she just has to answer emails. I mean, I don't know. But it just seems weird that she doesn't clock in. And then, her phone pings at Chris's house. And she has a long phone conversation with Chris the night before. I mean, these are a lot of different things that kind of add up to one possibility. They were doing something. And the question is, what were they doing?
Nicole Atkinson showing up. And that was one thing that aborted whatever plan that there was. Now, since the evidence suggests that it's premeditated, there must have been.
Well, see, another thing that I just thought of, she was angry with Chris. She told him to delete everything on his phone, like that same day, the day after, relatively quickly. And I mean, it seems like she's angry. And then when you hear Nicole talk about Shanann, she doesn't say Shanann's name. And there's a couple points where she gets angry about Nicole Atkinson. She's like, and Nicole Atkinson just showed up. Who does that? Like that's like a telling bit of information. Why would she say that? Why would she be angry with that? Why? I mean, when I found out about Nicole Atkinson being there, calling the police, getting somebody there quickly, my first thought was, hey, that's, a good thing. That's what helped solve this case. But somebody who might be complicit in some degree wouldn't be happy about that. It would have ruined all of their plans. Lucky says, I also think NK and Jim are the ones that put the girls in the tank. See, I have less. I hear you about Jim, but I have. I don't know. It's like too many. I can understand Chris's motive. I can understand Nichol Kessinger's motive. I can't understand Jim's motive. Is my problem with trying to talk about Jim as being a party to this. I just don't. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, it doesn't mean that he wasn't there. It doesn't mean that he doesn't have some motive for this. I know there's the talk about insurance money and stuff like that. That's not that much money, especially when you split it between 3 people. So I just don't buy that one as much as I can buy the fact that Nichol Kessinger was probably at the house, maybe at the house. I can say those things. I can wrap my head around that, and it almost feels logical and possible, at least. But with Jim, it's hard. I mean, I have to have more information, I think, and I try to avoid looking up information on him. But that's just me.
A much bigger plan that was aborted. And so we're going to try to examine more as to, yes, Becky, I agree with you. leave him alone was also there, because otherwise she would not have
Leave him alone was
panicked
also there.
so much as to leave him alone. He doesn't need to be wrapped up in this.
I don't know. I
And
think
probably
he needs to
because
be
he would make a
investigated too.
terrible witness.
Nichol Kessinger called him that morning.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Hello, Alexandra.
On a random
Yes.
morning.
So then we look at Cervi. So Chris, and I don't know if you want to put up the timeline that I emailed you.
Yes, I can do that.
Hey guys, so I just want to take a second to say, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit the like button as much as you can. And check out my other content as well. If you'd like to donate, there's just stuff in my description for that. If you just want to help me out by, subscribing and hitting the like button, that's great also. I appreciate all of you. I'm glad you're here with me. And, I really value your guys' opinions on this. Whoops, I lost my page. There we go. So I wish you guys.
Oh, yeah, this is what Vanina has done and sent. So this is from her. Can you see it up now?
Okay, the key is not in the detail. It's basically what he's doing in terms of being on the phone all the time. Chris was basically on the phone, on the computer, nonstop. So what is highlighted is the free time that he has. He only has short intervals. So one is 25 minutes, the other one is 21 minutes. And if you scroll down, I think he has another short interval of 20-something minutes.
Yes. 25
You
minutes.
have to ask yourself, this guy is a Superman. I mean, between the killing, the digging, the
digging wasn't very good.
Getting on the phone, taking photos of laptops,
That's why I don't think there's any help
and
with
then messaging everybody at work. I'm impressed. I mean, in terms of him being able, it must be the Thrive Pack or whatnot, but he's able to, I don't know how much time it takes to dig a grave, but I would reckon it must take longer than 20 minutes.
So I'm trying to share something here.
Right. And he.
So this is the phone. I don't know if I can make it better for you guys to see. If I had OBS, I would be able to stretch it out. But I'll just read from this document. This is the Verizon bill that Nichol Kessinger got. And I'm pretty sure this is actually the Verizon bill. If I can find it again. But on August 12th at 9:28 from Thornton, Colorado, Nichol Kessinger called Chris Watts for 111 minutes. On August 13th at 6:16 a.m., there was a 1-minute phone call from Frederick, Colorado. That's how her phone pinged. And it looks like it was a 414 number, which I'm not sure who that was. I guess that was Chris's number. And then also at 6:16, she called Jim. Is that right? Let me double check. No, she called Jim, talked to him for a minute in Frederick, Colorado at 6:16. And 414 is the number of Jim. And then later that day, she made a couple phone calls to two different, well, it looks like it was the same number in Platteville, Colorado, which is probably where she was working. And then after at 5:01, she called Chris. It looks like it was a 1-minute phone call. So I don't know if those 1-minute phone calls are like you call and it just registers as 1 minute, even if he doesn't answer, or you leave a voicemail. Does anybody know about that? I mean, I'm just curious because she made 2 1-minute phone calls at 5:01 and at 5:02. So I'm thinking Chris didn't answer, and it's most likely because police were at his house. Let's see. Let's get this back up here. It's not adding. There we go.
Please just give me kind of an estimate. And he said, I don't know, again, about 25 to 30 minutes. He seemed very reluctant and just unsure to even answer that.
Yes, but now we have evidence at Cervi that is also significant. Shall we talk about the garbage bag?
Yes, we can. And Amber sent me the truck photo. So I will save that real quick. And then Larry, what are your thoughts on everything so far? I'm curious. Is Larry there?
Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was on mute.
You're fine.
No, you guys are doing awesome. You guys are doing great. I mean, everything so far is lining up to exactly what I've come up with so far. I'm looking forward to as we get further in. Right now, I think is the part where I'm going to be mostly interested. But so far, it's brilliant. I mean, this is the way the case should have been laid out in a courtroom.
Right.
So, thumbs up to all of you. You guys are doing great.
Thanks. All right. And I'm getting the truck. So if you want to go ahead and start on the garbage bags, and then I have discovery of that as well.
Actually skip ahead a little bit.
I'll show the
Because
truck.
when this guy starts talking, he has some good information.
And I don't believe.
I can let you guys see the truck. I don't know that that's her truck. I mean, she had a other truck, right? The one that she's standing in front of in a couple of pictures. Is it this truck?
So why would she get so angry?
Her father even sounded angry with her.
Mm-hmm.
I need to back up just.
Left, had originally gone to the house, but then left to go check the doctor's office, and it seemed to suggest that someone had there was movement in the house. Someone had left the house at that time.
Yes.
Does she agree? I mean, I guess I'm wondering if you agree with that. Does that? Do you think that makes sense?
My opinion is that NK was there the entire night and left around 12:42. Chris would have called her to let her know that Nicole Atkinson showed up. And also during the interview, she's extremely angry with Nicole Atkinson. I have what she said to the officer. She said, Nikki called the cops. Nikki called the cops. Why would this girl call the cops? What role does this woman have to play in this situation? So why would she get so angry?
Her father even sounded angry with her.
Mm-hmm. They did.
All of this should have been.
Yeah, I think that it is so close to the timeline that Nicole Atkinson goes to the doctor's office, and it would only make sense that as soon as, let's say NK is in the house, soon as she sees Nicole Atkinson and her son leave, of course she's going to immediately get out of the house. So people try to say, like, no, it aligns so much with Nicole Atkinson being the one who made the alert. But it could also be argued that as soon as she left, of course, somebody in the house who's trying to like get out of the situation would book it at that point.
Yeah,
Agreed.
and I believe, someone fact check me if I'm wrong on this, but that the Vivint alert made it clear that it was the interior garage door. There was no way for Nicole or even her son, if they were jiggling the garage door trying to get it open, that they reached in and hit on that interior door.
It's so hard because the discovery never
if you look at
clarifies it.
if you line up Nicole Atkinson's GPS data, it shows that at 12:42, and I got this from Amber, but it shows at 12:42, Nicole Atkinson had left the house already. She was on her way to the doctor's office.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not.
Yeah, I think this detail is important, so that we can see, you know, the full timeline of the day. So Nicole Atkinson going to the house with her phone pinging there, you know, you can actually see the exact time she was there. And it doesn't make sense that an interior door would have opened if nobody was inside, right?
Not speculating on these times. I mean, these are Vivint digital footprints, they're exact times, and Nicole Atkinson was gone. So as soon as Nicole Atkinson left, it makes sense that whoever was about to get caught in the house and was panicking needed to get out of the house. And that's exactly what they did.
I agree. And it's odd that
who was in the house that was afraid to get caught. That's the best thing I've heard so far in this video is if somebody was in the house and somebody's knocking on the door, frantically trying to get in, opening up doors and banging on the garage, you know, they're panicking for sure.
In the garage, there's a trash can right outside of the interior door, like in the garage. And in that trash can, the cop opens it and you see a baby doll and a sippy cup in there. So
exactly.
That
goes with the cleaning lady.
Yeah,
she was cleaning,
exposing something real quick, and then that had her fingerprints on it, or maybe chloroform, who knows, and then left. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. And this says that it sent an alarm about the time, stating he had left the garage door open. Christopher told me that at least 3 times, which I felt was unusual. Shanann's phone showed an alert at 12:42 hours for the garage door, which is the only way someone could leave the residence. So again, I don't think that even law enforcement checked deeply into which door it was. But when you look at their Vivint and the way Chris has described it and talking about the doors, he never mentions that they have Vivint on their exterior garage door. We know from the Santa video, you hear it mention it in the interior garage door. So again, it's just something
if they did, would we not have?
Lucky, I believe you're right. I saw that also a couple different times, but somebody did see the truck, and I'm not sure that I know the exact name, but I think it was a female neighbor that I've heard multiple times. They identified a truck that looked like Nichol Kessinger's being at the house that morning.
Seen a whole bunch of data because they did put some of the Vivint data there, and I don't remember seeing anything about the garage door opening or closing when he left in the morning.
No,
there's nothing to show what the outside garage door did. It was all about the inside door, the door that leads to the house.
Well, if the outside garage door didn't open, how did he get everyone out of the house and into his truck? So that's kind of a weird detail that maybe I misunderstood. I'm not sure, but it sounded like there was no evidence of the garage door opening, but we saw Chris come out of the garage in Nate's ring cam video.
When the when Nicole Atkinson and her son were there, they were setting off an alarm, which is different than the open door alert. So the 1242 is an open door alert. They were setting off the alarm. So,
and I believe that alarm would have been set off by the front door because they were able to open the front door, but just not all the way because the interior latch. So if they opened that front door and the alarm was set, that would have ignited the alarm. But if you can't get in to hit the code, as anyone that has a security system knows, you open the door, that ignites the alarm, but you have a certain amount of time to go in and punch the code to turn it off, and you're in the house. When they open that front door, that would have initiated the alarm, and they were unable to turn it off by code, so it actually alerted Vivint, and it went off.
If you guys remember the body cam footage video, you can see Nicole Atkinson and her son sticking their hands through the door. I mean, you can see their fingers going inside. So they did 100% open the front door when they were there. And that set off the alarm. And so if Nicole Atkinson hadn't called the police, just opening that door would have triggered some kind of alert that would have brought out law enforcement anyway.
So that wasn't from the garage door, jiggling that garage door.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And it's hard enough. Their big garage outside door was broken. How could they have opened it enough? I mean, it's a big door. So for it to set off an open door alert, I just don't see that being the big door. I really feel it was the inside door. And we have proof, like you said, in the Shanann Santa video that they had that on the inside door. If you own a house, I feel like you would have an alert on the inside so that you knew somebody was breaking that barrier at that point.
Right.
Yeah, I think all of that part is pretty, I mean, I don't know, Vanina can jump in. I think it's pretty, I know a lot of what we're doing is obviously going to be, you know, whether you call it speculation, but I mean, what we're doing is we're using, you know, the evidence we have, a lot of which is circumstantial. We do have a lot of direct evidence, which I like how you guys are bringing up the prints, these things, but you take it all together. It's like baking a pie. You know, you have ingredients, and, you know, missing one ingredient, you got to have each ingredient.
That's
a
all very
alone, those ingredients mean nothing, but as you put them together, you know.
Because, you know, whenever you're thinking about this case and you're wondering why they didn't investigate Nichol Kessinger, you got to ask yourself this question from the standpoint of a prosecutor. They got to have enough information to convince a jury that this person is guilty and guilty of the charges that they specifically charge her with. You know, if it was a felony, she would have to, you know, go to a grand jury and get indicted first. And if they don't have enough evidence to prove that, they're not going to do it. And even if they did have enough information to get a grand jury to sign off on the charges, they may not have had enough information to, you know, hold up in front of a jury. I mean, I think that they didn't investigate her because not necessarily because of, you know, they were just lazy, but maybe they didn't have enough funding. You know, there was other cases that was happening, and Chris confessed. I mean, it's simple. It's a simple reason for them to stop investigating. But if you listen to Dylan Tallman, I think it was not Dylan Tallman. Who was the other guy that said that Tammy wanted to talk to him? So it almost sounds like they were still investigating her, right? I can't remember his name. Sorry, guys. I just talked about him the other day. But he was supposed to meet with Tammy, have a conversation, and, you know, continue to, she was basically, if she was going to meet with him, she was still investigating the case. You know, she was going to at least hear him out and see what information he had. But it apparently fell through, and they didn't go through with that.
You know, like putting the pieces of the puzzle together. But I think it's quite obvious that what happened that morning as for Nicole Atkinson going, we have enough data there to show pretty much what happened and why different alerts went off. What we don't know is why at 12:42, when nobody should have been in that house, that alert went off.
You know,
Well, I think
just a
it
thought,
was NK
that
going
just
from the
occurred to me. You know how sometimes when you open the front door, another door will open, or if you got a window open, the blinds will slam. I mean, it's a possibility, right? I mean, they opened the front door, it caused the air in the house to kind of create a vacuum, and maybe the door to the garage wasn't completely latched. That could potentially open the door, right? I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate here because, I mean, that's a good reason for the door to open. I know at my house here, if my door is not latched properly here, and somebody comes in through the front door, the door opens all the time. So I guess we do know that the front door was open. That is a possibility for for the reason why the door opened, other than somebody else being in the house. But I don't know. It just seems like she was probably there. Why didn't she text them that morning? You know, why did she forget to clock in that morning and have to manually enter her time that day? Why did her phone ping from Frederick, Colorado?
He's meant to put something in the Lexus, no?
No, I agree. I absolutely agree with you. I'm just trying to say, point it out for everybody else that there's no other explanation really. I mean, there should have been nobody in that house that could have opened a door. Dieter wasn't certainly walking around opening doors.
Also, if you observe the way Chris was going to the Lexus, he actually looked through the window like he's not sure what he's picking up.
I think from the car too when he opened the door, but yeah, he does look in there like it's a weird thing, and it looked like he grabbed something when he opened the door. He grabbed something. Nobody asked him what it was he grabbed or anything. They just let him grab it.
I'm glad you just mentioned that, because what I notice about him when he gets home and the way he's walking around and just based on body language is, if he was the last one to leave that house, he would have known exactly what he was going to open the door to. And it seemed to me a lot of what was happening in that minute that before he opened the front door, and then afterwards, once we see from the cam, he was very unsure what he was walking into. He didn't know what the house was going to look like, where things were going to be. He was trying to get a grasp for things. He may have gotten a phone call telling him some things, like maybe what was in the Lexus, but he really seemed very nervous about what he was going to find in the house. And why would he be nervous if he was the last one to leave?
No, from his demeanor and the way he had to walk around, check the house, it's clear that he was not the last person to leave the house. Otherwise, he would know where everything is. If you slow down the body cam, he kind of looks with both eyes and kind of covers.
Molly, that is a terrifying thought. If he thought Nichol Kessinger was still there, that's a scary thought. If she could possibly be hiding in the car with police there, I know that the police go through the whole house with Chris. He does look very nervous, obviously because of what he did. But these people are suggesting there's another reason for that look on his face, that he's not sure what's left here. He's not sure what they're going to find. So he's trying to run through the house before everyone else does. I mean, you can see that he's doing that. He's in other rooms when everyone else is in a different room, and he comes back in. If somebody was cleaning the house, the state of the place that when he left could have been really disheveled, dirty. Who knows what happened in the house. But everything was washed, everything was sanitized, and it was weird because it was so clean. I mean, if he just went to work that morning, where was the bed sheets, right? The bed sheets were not on the bed anymore.
His space before he opens the Lexus to look exactly where he has to pick up the item.
Yeah, I agree. I noticed that too. He very much was unsure of what he was walking into and what he was going to find.
The other Vivint alert that's kind of people kind of don't realize, and it goes along with body cam footage, is the basement door alert at 5:27 or 5:26. So that's an open door alert. So it's telling him that the basement door is left open. So when he gets home, goes to the Lexus, which possibly he grabbed the ring out of it. I don't know. Maybe she had her prints on the ring and wanted him to, kind of wipe them off. Who knows? He goes to the Lexus, grabs something, goes in the house, lets them in. As you're watching him on the body cam footage, which is shown in my Vivint alert video, the basement door is shut. So he left, got the alert that it was left open, gets home, and suddenly it's shut. So who shut it?
That's a really good
Exactly.
question.
And it wasn't Dieter.
Right. So that's that. I mean,
And also,
yeah.
I'm so sorry, Kel.
No, you're fine. No, go ahead. I didn't really have anywhere to go. Go ahead.
As you guys are doing this, and maybe this has already been talked about, but another thing I noticed about that video of him coming in, it seemed to me, he said no when they asked, did you check upstairs? I don't think he ever went upstairs between the time he walked in from the garage and then he let them in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he ever went upstairs. And then when they asked him, I believe he said, it seemed to me, he said no. And then they went upstairs and he had to follow them upstairs to say, shit, like kind of, wow, what's going on up there? But also he went, and we talked about this a little, touched on it a little, but I still am kind of shaken up on, he went right downstairs after letting them in to get Dieter. So he went Dieter was in the basement, but yet we saw Dieter's kennel was out near the door.
Yeah.
So did they, and I don't know if we have answers to this, did they keep Dieter downstairs often? Is that where they kept him? If they did, why wasn't his kennel down there? But why did he?
I thought his kennel was down there.
Go immediately to the basement to get Dieter.
Yeah.
And who put Dieter in the basement? What was Dieter doing in the basement?
Right.
And you don't hear Dieter barking.
See, this is another kind of clue that, bugs me. If Nichol Kessinger was in the house, most likely that dog would not have been in the kennel, wherever that kennel was kept, because he would have barked the entire time. And, if Nicole was actually in the house cleaning, it would have been better to just let him roam free. But as soon as Nicole Atkinson shows up, I think that's going to be one of the first things she does is put Dieter in the cage, to make it look like he had always been in the cage. But I think you can hear him barking, and then you don't hear him barking. If he was in the cage, he would be barking if people were in the house
beforehand. So it's like somebody had him keeping him quiet, and then all of a sudden they leave at 12:42, and then everyone else gets to the house and Dieter's going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wonder, I don't know about that. That's, to me, that's thinking too much for me about what the dog was at, because I don't think we know what the dog was doing, because we don't have any body cam footage of when Nicole Atkinson first arrived to the house. So I wonder, I wish I could ask if Nicole had heard Dieter barking that first time, but
as she said,
I don't think we can say definitively that he didn't go upstairs, because we can't tell from the body cam at the time. The mirror was reflective, and Dave timed it. It took him a minute and 15 seconds to open the door. And at that time, he would have gone upstairs to check and probably hide the phone because the phone was hidden in the cushion.
See, that's also interesting. Somebody just mentioned that maybe Chris had grabbed the ring out of the car. If it took him a minute and a half to come in through the garage and then open the front door, that's a long time with people waiting out there. That's enough time to go hide something for sure. And I think, I mean, if he did pull out the ring out of the car, he could have, easily ran upstairs, put it on the, wasn't it on the ledge, the stairs, the ledge to the stairs. And then her phone was found in the cushion of the couch, or maybe it's the other way around. But that's a long time. That's enough time to go find something, hide something for sure.
And
Right.
check to see where everything was. He would have definitely, if he's not the last person to leave the place, he would have had to check the entire house.
Yeah, no, I agree that we can't definitively say it. We don't know what he did in that minute and 15 seconds. I just found it interesting. It seemed like he didn't, but then again, he could have been lying, saying, "Oh no, I didn't. Yeah, no, not yet," or he just didn't really know what he didn't know what was going on. He was very much in the dark when he walked in that house. I think that's my main takeaway was, I don't know what he did, but I know he seemed to not know what was going on in that house. He did not seem like somebody that was the last person to walk out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
He seemed very nervous about what he was going to find in the house.
Should we go to the tire trucks?
Yeah, I have a photo of that. But no, Dieter, I don't think he was in a bathroom or upstairs. I'm seeing some of those comments. I mean, we can play this real quick and then we'll go to the tire tracks. But just to hear what Chris says, he said, I went to the basement to get Dieter. He said, I had to go get Dieter. And then, yes, we'll go to the tire tracks.
I just want to make sure she's not passed out somewhere. Is she diabetic?
And see, he goes down to the basement. And hear Dieter barking. And it sounds like he's bringing Dieter up from the basement, in my opinion.
There's no Dieter.
I had to get the dog. I'm sorry.
Why does he have to get the dog at this point?
Yeah.
He opened the door.
Right. And I wish, but no, Dieter definitely had a kennel right when you walk in from the garage into the home. There was a kennel in that little mudroom foyer area. Okay, so I guess that kind of sidetracked us. But basically what we're saying is it appears there was movement at the home, etc., after Chris had left. NK has no alibi for that time at all. And that's why we're speculating. See, right here is Dieter's, at least one of Dieter's kennels. I don't remember seeing one in the basement.
Oh, and in regards to the 1242 Vivian, in the document that you just opened, the police officer remarks that Chris Watts' demeanor is nonchalant.
Right.
In this discovery, page 51.
His demeanor was weird. He is obviously faking everything, and we know that now. Officers probably suspected it right away. His face looks a little paler than normal, like he didn't sleep the night before. If you ask me, somebody who's like, he probably took a couple extra Thrive patches to stay awake because he probably didn't sleep at all that night. The thing with the sheets being found at the oil site, that's a pretty big mistake. I mean, it's a huge mistake. And if he had left that kind of thing at the oil site, what did he leave in the house? And I mean, we may never know because they stopped investigating after he confessed. So I'm going to just play a little bit more of this video, and then you guys can, I'll share I've already shared the link once, but I can also put it in the description so you guys can find it. This video is really interesting. It's pretty long though. And they kind of go through everything. All of the, the different bits of information. And it really appears that Nichol Kessinger could have been in the home. And if it wasn't Nicole, I mean, who was it? But it seems like somebody was there. I keep saying this, but that hole that he dug out at the oil site is like not even a full like hole. It's very poorly dug. So he was probably like running out of time, and that's how he ended up leaving that sheet there. If he had other people helping, he could have left them there to finish it and finish digging the hole. So, I mean, that's kind of why I think, either the hole was pre-dug and they thought it was deep enough, or, Chris did it himself and ran out of time and had to get to work so that he can present a normal Chris to everyone that day. And, he basically did seem very normal to everyone at work. Oops. Oh man, I accidentally clicked the screen button here.
So he's not going to bring Shanann out through the front garage or risk getting caught.
I wanted to see the part about
so what would make
track.
most sense? I mean, we also have to factor in logic and common sense as well.
And what do you think, Banana? This is a good point I've labored with, because a lot of people have said, and I agree with, if this was 5, 6 in the morning that they were going out the back, that would be highly risky, because Betty and of course even Nosy Nate would have been, it's right behind their house. They would have noticed some action, or maybe looked out the window.
To describe
and this
Nate.
Goes to what I think.
I don't think he was nosy at all.
And also with the timeline not fitting up, that Chris could have done all that at the scene or at Cervi is, and again, I'm obviously theorizing, but I wonder what you think of it. That Shanann was long gone out of that house way before he ever walked out of that garage. This would have been done in the back closer to, 3 in the morning, when he would have known the neighbors were sleeping, and they could have been at Cervi long before him, already digging in the grave and getting rid of Shanann.
I think it would have been done at the same time, because
I still just don't buy that there's multiple people digging a hole, even though there was 2 shovels found in Chris's truck. And also that's 2, not 3. So if there was a third person there, I think they could have dug a much deeper hole. I think 2 people could have dug a much deeper hole. Chris is actually pretty like muscular, so he would have been able to dig it himself if he had more time. I just think if he had more help, it wouldn't have been like 2 feet deep instead of, it would have been like 4 or 5 feet deep instead of 2 feet deep. It was a very shallow grave.
I think Chris being in front was a distraction. And there would have been 2 cars going to Cervi around the same time.
And I just want to say that Amber has a really good point about the front. And if you believe that the mistress was seen walking out, if you believe there's a second car on that footage, what we're going to kind of move into with the explosion theory, that we believe this was very likely that they were planning an explosion at 319. If that had happened, in your opinion, Vanina, would they have even been looking at Chris's home and studying the camera footage from that morning? And that's kind of what Amber has said, is if it was, the plan was to explode Cervi, and then obviously it fell through when NA showed up, that could be why Chris allowed NK to walk out, or why there wasn't.
So what do you guys think about the explosion theory? I think that is that is a crazy scenario, but it makes sense if you think about it. Hello, Karen. Karen says, I think that NK was there that morning and helped Chris Watts kill Shanann and those precious babies. If not for NK, they would still be alive. You know, I agree. I mean, even if you think about it, if, you know, we just have to put it out there. If Nichol Kessinger wasn't involved at all, other than just being in a relationship, that relationship is enough to push him over the edge. I mean, I can see why she would help him. I could see the motive with her. You know, when you start talking about blowing stuff up, that's a whole different thing. Hey, Andrea, I thank you for watching the video. It sounds like you're watching the beginning where my son called me right before we started the live, and he got to hang out for a little bit through my phone. But I will let him know that you said hello. Both him and his brother both want to be YouTubers. And my youngest son has actually got that like star power. I think he could actually be good. I'll have to post a link to my son's video on my other channel where he got like 10,000 views on his first try. I mean, he's just crazy. But yeah, the theory of blowing the Cervi site up would destroy the evidence for sure. But those things don't just blow up. It would have been investigated. They would have found out that it was started. There's no way to fake that somebody who isn't an expert at detecting these things would have been able to figure it out. You know, I mean, I think that it could have been something they talked about. You know, let's blow this place up. And, you know, Shanann got jealous and was tracking Chris down and drove out to the oil site where Chris was always working. And the thing just happened to blow up. Like, the logic in that scenario isn't very good. I mean, I suppose it's at least probable. Like, there's some scenario where Shanann has to go out there and the place blows up. Like, that just, it seems far-fetched to me. I know a lot of people like to talk about the song, the Metallica song Battery, and how it explains how to do all of these things. And that's where they got the idea from. It's crazy. I'll play a little bit more of this. I wanted to see the tire tracks. I don't know. I think I skipped over it by accident.
Another car in the front, etc. So I'm just kind of curious about your thoughts on that, because so many people say there's no way that would be the mistress walking out because they knew the camera was there, or there was no way there would be another car on the gravel because of the camera. And I know people are very split on the car on the gravel, but I'm just speculating and curious what you think about that. If there was the plan, maybe they felt that they were safe to move about because the attention was on the explosion at Cervi.
Mm-hmm. Well, the explosion would have still been investigated in any case, and Chris did check the CCTV, so I think that they were all running out of time because Shanann's flight was delayed. So whatever had to be done, I think at that time they were willing to take the risk, because it's not that easy to see. I mean, they were dressed the same. And CCTVs, you're never going to agree in terms of jury.
Yeah. I don't think that Nate's footage would even be admissible in court.
Right.
Which we have a good source also who basically says that would never even show up. They wouldn't even refer to it.
Yeah, because it just isn't clear.
No, CCTVs are admissible all the time, but to see the woman in the ponytail, you have to do a lot of enhancing and zooming and all of that. That is the part that would not be admissible.
Right.
is all the manipulation of the CCTV.
Right.
I mean,
and that's what would be
CCTVs are
required for Nate's footage. Nate specifically, we have somebody who works in the courthouse, an agent, who said there's no way that they would ever even present that. The judge would look at it and be like, no, give me something else.
But CCTVs are used in courts all the time.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
say, I think CCTV would have absolutely been in court to show what Chris was doing. I don't know if any attorney would have risked going into all the theories that we've seen on YouTube of the woman, you know, whether or not it was a woman, whether or not it was another car. But they would have certainly used it to show what Chris was doing that morning.
They could have. I think that it's just way too risky and inconclusive for even the defense team to use it, because even Rourke didn't even use it in court.
But Rourke didn't need to use anything in court because there was no trial.
Right, but he does refer to it. So for him to refer to it but not actually like...
So I don't know if there's rules on how an investigation goes, but I mean, is there any like I don't know what you call it, protocol for these situations where they have to make sure that they've investigated everything fully before they accept a plea deal of any kind? I mean, is that a thing? Because it seems like they missed something and they just like, you know, let the case close and moved on. And once they moved on, they didn't have time to come back after all of these theories started coming out. I still think that Nichol Kessinger got some kind of deal, and that's how she got away with all of that. All of this. It's the only thing that makes sense, and we don't see it in any of the interview videos. There's conversations that they had that wasn't on a camera. So, I mean, it seems unlikely in the regards of, you know, some kind of witness protection, but they could have given her some kind of deal. And I've heard this from various sources, but I've never seen anything signed by a DA or anybody who would have the power to do something like this. But I've heard that they're out there and they exist. To me, that's kind of a rumor. If you can't prove it, you can't back it up with actual documents. But it does seem likely that they knew a lot of the stuff because of, you can hear it in the questions that they ask in those interviews that we do see. You know, they ask, were you at the house that day? Like, it's a weird question to ask. Were you there? Was there any other times you were there that we don't know about? I mean, they ask weird questions. It's almost like they knew about the phone ping before anyone else did. They may not have had to get like a warrant to see some information before. I mean, I'm sure they can get access to information that we can't get initially, and it doesn't always have to be, you know, done properly so that it could be shown in court. They could have accessed that data, saw the phone ping, and wonder why, and that's why that question was asked.
I don't know. This is just an opinion from somebody who works in the courthouse at the DOJ.
Yeah. I mean, they could have very well used it to, you know, for example, Chris was loading a gas tank, all of that.
You know,
and that he normally never, to Nicole Atkinson, he never normally drives into.
You know, that actually is kind of weird now that I think about it. The gas can being put in his truck. I mean, would there be any reason for him to carry gasoline around? I mean, I guess people carry extra gas. I've never carried extra gas. I've carried gas for like lawnmowers and weed eaters and things like that. But he doesn't have like anything that would need gas.
Parks into the driveway in the morning. Maybe show his unusual behavior.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
not
saying
manipulate it. It would be a raw footage.
Right. It's interesting, yeah. And I think a jury wouldn't agree on what they saw, in my opinion. So
Molly,
yeah, I mean,
that's exactly what Jodi Arias did. She got 3 gas cans so she could drive from her home in California all the way to Arizona without stopping for gas. But I don't know why Chris would need a gas can to not stop for gas for any reason. I don't know. I mean, it's possible, but I just don't see it.
I mean, that's another thing that they would use it with a tech expert testifying. Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, that footage is definitely a huge debate.
Yeah, I think, like Benina said, it would have been only allowed as raw footage, and it would have been limited in scope to showing exactly what happened, which is nobody's going to debate what happened in that video. As for Chris came out at this time, backed in at this time, left the house at this time, was walking around doing this.
Right.
I don't believe they would have allowed, unless they really pushed it, but I don't believe anyone would have gotten into what we've all talked about, shadows or whether or not there was a red car and all these different things. It would have been more of a timeline basis thing, and I think it would have certainly been.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. Okay, so now getting into, I mean, we've kind of talked about, we know that NK searched Chris in August of 2018. She searched Chris before Shanann. Yeah, go ahead.
So did we already finish the tire tracks in the back?
I mean, I just kind of moved on. It had been up there for a while.
Okay.
But we can go back. It's back.
No. So what does the chap think? Do you think Shanann was taken out the back?
Yeah, we've been saying that for a while. I always felt like nobody was being dragged out the front. Nobody was loaded in the truck.
I guess this is the tire.
It just would make sense since he says over and over that there's no cameras in the back. Somebody must have taken out the back. Like, he says it. So I know it's like, well, how can you believe what he says? But to me, if you read between the lines, it just makes more sense. I mean, the sun was coming up. Why would he load them out the front?
Yes, exactly. So then I think we were going to talk about going to Cervi and the garbage bag.
But if he would, I mean, why would he open the garage if he didn't take them out the garage? If he was just grabbing a few things from the garage, like a shovel, I mean, why would he need to back up his truck? I think that stuff, most of that stuff was in his truck already, but you do see him put a gas can in there, and that's kind of weird.
Yes, we can go there.
Because we had, I know we kept getting sidetracked back and forth, but we went through the timeline of how whether or not Chris would be able to do all of that he did alone at Cervi in that morning before his co-workers came up. But then we also found evidence relating to that.
Right. Just real quick. Yeah. And again, that just goes to, why do you think the crime scene was left in such a mess like it was, when he knew that coworkers were going to be there any moment, basically, that morning? But yeah, here is where the garbage bags are mentioned. There was garbage bags in the work truck, and then 2 black plastic bags at Cervi.
And then there are latent fingerprints.
I can go here. So
and the rake as well, right?
Yes. So On item 7, which was the black plastic bag, 8 latent prints suitable for comparison were observed or developed on item 7, which is one of the black plastic bags. No latent prints suitable for comparison were observed or developed on items 8, 10, 13, or 38. So that would be the black plastic bag, the rake head, the partial rake handle, and the roll of bags from the truck. And then it says the rake handle was not suitable for latent print analysis. And then you scroll down and it says that latents 7-01 through 7-08 were entered into the state database. There were no identifications made and they were not entered into the federal database. So in your opinion, Vanina, I mean, you said earlier that that basically would prove someone else was there if those prints aren't matching Chris, right? In your opinion?
Yes, that would suggest that. And if a proper investigation is done, then you would be testing against everybody who has access to Cervi, as well as any possible persons of interest.
Right.
Because the suggestion there is that Chris wasn't at Cervi alone that morning before the coworkers showed up.
Right.
So I think that's where I'm going to stop playing this video for you guys. You guys can check it out and watch the whole thing. You know, it's 3 hours long. We've watched like maybe 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes of it. It's interesting. It's an older video. I hadn't seen it before. I've watched most of it and different pieces of it a couple times now. And they bring up a lot of good information. Let me see. Yeah, so we've been going for almost 2 hours already. I had planned to read some stuff that I had written, but I think I'll save that for next time. But if you guys have any questions, there's stuff we could talk about for a little while. Lucky says, I heard Jim disappeared after Chris was arrested. I don't think anybody has seen him. And I don't think anybody has seen any pictures of him with Chris and Nicole, if he was at the sand dunes with them. But I don't know. I mean, it's weird that he gets brought up and, you know, NK shuts the questioning down immediately as soon as it comes up. I mean, all of this entire case is weird. And I think that's why we have Watts Island. I mean, everything in it is weird. Why didn't things get properly investigated? Don't detectives and law enforcement have an obligation to fully investigate a case to make sure that all of the parties that were possibly involved are held accountable? I mean, they should have a duty to find out this stuff, but it feels like as soon as Chris confessed, it was over. There was no more investigation, no more reason to investigate, no reason at all to check Chris's information to make sure that he actually did it. Because if somebody else helped him, they're letting him take the fall for a crime that maybe he didn't do by himself. And that seems wrong to me. So Maribel says that Jim, I'm guessing this is referring to Jim. Jim was in a solo pick at the sand dunes on the same day. And I think I remember hearing something about that, actually. Do you think a new DA will actually go back and reinvestigate any of this? I mean, I think that it's at least, I mean, it should be fully investigated. If somebody else was helping in this, they should be held accountable. If Nichol Kessinger was like given some kind of immunity for giving them her phone after she deleted it. I mean, I think they could have got a warrant to get the phone and find out the information that's on the phone. They're not going to be able to recover everything from a deleted phone, and what they don't recover, we just don't know. But it just feels like they just gave up for no reason. Like, oh, it's just over. People get arrested for, going through parking lots and lifting up door handles. And they spend more time on those cases, it seems like, than they would on a real investigation that requires a real investigation and real time and real effort to verify the information that's being told to them by their suspect. They should at least have to do that, right? But after watching the video that we've been looking through today, I definitely see how it is possible that somebody else was in the house. The real evidence that we can see is very limited. We've got the phone ping and she deleted her phone. But I don't see why that's not enough to be suspicious and an investigator enough to find out what she did, what they talked about. If I could find a lawyer to come on and talk about this, that would be great. If any of you guys know one who would like to just talk about, the law, we don't have to speculate on this case if they feel uncomfortable with that. But I would love to talk to an attorney on, how they handle an investigation and what the standards are for those, how they run down all of the clues, how they verify what's going to be useful in court and what's not. All of those things are good questions, and I think people should know how that stuff works, not to make it easier for you to get away with crime. Obviously, if you do a crime, you should do the time. But the process of law enforcement and prosecutors and defense attorneys, all of that stuff is designed to protect us, because 90% of us, 99% of us don't commit crimes, don't want to commit crimes, and reasonably are not going to ever commit a crime. But it's designed to protect the times that somebody who is innocent is assumed guilty and taken to court. It's designed to protect us. Everything that law enforcement does, and when they work with prosecutors, to basically keep the community safe. Everything they do is to keep the community safe. The defense attorney has every right to make it hard for the prosecutor to prosecute somebody. They have a high standard, and it should be high. They should have to prove, and that's why it's beyond a reasonable doubt. If it's a reasonable doubt, you could still get convicted, but beyond a reasonable doubt, that's a high level of proof that you have to convince a jury of. And I don't think that it's wrong for defense attorneys to defend people, because the defense attorney is also protecting people who don't commit crime by keeping the prosecutor on their toes. If they let the prosecutor say whatever they're going to say and let the charges be charged however they're going to be charged, then nobody would stand a chance of defending themselves if they didn't actually do something. But Maribel says somebody wanted this case to go away. And I think that is 100% true. I mean, it's the only thing that really makes sense. I mean, especially when you hear about Tammy, going to talk to somebody who was in prison with Chris, and then that doesn't happen. She was curious enough to at least tell him, hey, we'll talk about it. But maybe she was shut down. Don't do it. You can't go talk to him. I guess that is a very good point, Maribel. The oil company, I'm not sure who mentioned that first. They do stand to lose a lot of money. But I don't think that they would have lost that much money based off of one guy committed murder, even though the bodies were put on their property. They're not going to take the oil out of that tank and keep it for evidence. They'll just remove the bodies. It might have made them look bad, but I don't see how it would have prevented them from doing anything that they continued to do already. So I don't think they would have been shut down by this kind of a crime. But Nichol Kessinger was more worried about herself and her job. That also makes her look suspicious. Every conversation we see with her, it's always me, me, me. It's never like, oh my God, what about these kids? And then when she does say that at the end of one interview, it sounded fake. Olga, what do you mean about the leak? I wonder why that job would have been a dream job. It must have paid well, In that case, Maribel, that does make sense. That would have lowered the value at least a little bit. And but I don't know how much it would have lowered it. I think I've got something in my throat. Just bear with me, guys. But there is nothing about this case that feels right. Like even when Chris, goes to prison, it doesn't feel like it's enough. I don't know why this case is so hard to let go, but it really is. And I've talked to a couple people lately who've said the same things. This case always stands out in my mind. I can't forget about it. It's hard when you see those little girls and those videos and you find out what happened to them. I mean, it is very hard not to feel something, and it's very hard to just believe that this just happened. With other family annihilator cases, there's always some kind of long plan that took place, in advance. And there's nothing. I mean, we can't find Chris Watts's plan. But it might have been on Nichol Kessinger's phone, but she deleted it. Deleted everything on her phone. Yeah, they looked like they had everything. I remember Nichol Kessinger talking about how she went through the house You know, I think she saw, you know, somebody who was wealthy, who had everything, and she wanted to take Shanann's place. I think she wanted that house. She wanted that car. You know, she wanted that life. And I think it's very hard to imagine why Chris would have, you know, wanted to let it go. Um, I've heard that they were actually looking at losing the house like that month. And that's why they were considering selling it. Um, I just don't know. I just can't figure it out. Like none of it makes sense to me. There isn't a good scenario that is out where it makes sense to me. But anyways, guys, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. I hope you guys have a good rest of your Sunday. Keep an eye out for more Nichol Kessinger shorts. I've got several of them that I'm going to be posting. I think you guys will like them. I have been working on some stuff. I don't think I have any long form videos coming out anytime soon, unfortunately. They take a lot of time, and I've been working on some horror stories rather than true crime. And I've been spending a lot of time. Yesterday, I spent, I don't know, at least 12 hours rewriting some stuff. And I think I did well. I'm feeling more and more confident every time I write a story now. They just keep getting better and better. I had never really considered writing fiction that way until I started writing true crime. I don't know. Like I've always been good at writing. I studied playwriting. I wanted to be a playwright when I was younger, and I was good at that. I was good. I was really good at it. You know, but I just didn't do much with that. But keep an eye out. I will be having some books released soon. I've got one book out. I've sent out a query on a book, so I'm hopefully going to get some feedback on it at least. I don't think you know get your book gets picked up on the first one you send out. So I think writing that book improved my writing skill 100 times. So I think once I write a couple more, I'm probably one of them is going to get published by a real publisher rather than just being self-published on Kindle or Amazon, which is I think fine. People do it. People make money that way. But I would feel more professional if somebody else published one of my books, you know? But anyways, guys, Happy New Year. I love you all, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.